Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the Detour Live. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Dan Jones, as always, joined by four-time National Road Champion from Australia, John Iffy Trevorrow. Now, John, you had a bit of a headache this afternoon. You're not crisp. There was a period where you could have pulled the pin, but you've soldiered on, mate. How are you travelling?
Me, mate. Soldier on. Oh, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm fine.
Tough as nails.
Exciting stuff, mate. Hey, what a overnight. Well, yesterday, but overnight for us, a great win by Caden Groves, stage two of Turkey. There's the photo there. But he looked so good on stage one. He finished third, but was definitely the faster finisher. But he just creamed them. That's a top field. I mean, it was really fantastic when he won in Catalonia, but it wasn't an elite sprint field. This is an elite sprint field. They're all there. Caleb was there. You look at the placings. Jasper Phillips and Sam Bennett. back in it. He was third. Case Bowl, Caleb. They're all there. And the lead out set up, the train by BikeExchange-Jayco was superb. It was tailwind, so they got him there early, got him to the right spot. Lotto jumped by them in the last 500 metres or so, but didn't matter. He knew what he was doing. He was comfortable. He just, real. You wouldn't have thought it was that inexperienced. It was, top stuff. Great ride.
You caught up with him earlier today. Apologies. I was in the car and had to shuffle a few things around. We only had a window of time to get him, but you did a great job with the chat, so we're going to play that. Then we're going to talk to Dave Sanders, who has he can take a fair bit of credit with discovering Caden Groves. He was the man in the early days.
Had a bit to do with it. Yep.
And then we're going to have a halftime break. And in the second half, we're going to talk to Henk Vogels. So that's always entertaining.
Yeah.
So
and we're going to talk about the exciting Amstel Gold Race for the men and women just last weekend. So we're going to talk about that. Well, where they've nearly stuffed up the results, although I think they did last year. But anyway, another story. Yeah. So, as you say, Tour of Turkey, they're like 7 hours behind us, a little bit different to the rest of Europe. And we gave him a call earlier, and he jumped on the blower. So, and lucky for me, you couldn't get involved, so I could talk a bit more about Bakerits. It was good.
I did make some edits because you did dribble a bit of crap, so I polished it up a bit. But here's Caden Groves from earlier today, talking to a very polished John Trevorrow.
I feel good. Thanks for having me on, fellas. It's been a great start to the week already. Stage 1 third was kind of bittersweet. Made a few mistakes myself, but yesterday the guys nailed it, and we got another win here. Things looking good for the rest of the week.
Just take us through that last 4 or 5K. I didn't watch it live. I watched the highlights.
Yeah, so the finish yesterday wasn't technical, but it had its corners and its markers. So we knew what corners we needed to hit, and the guys just nailed it. It was perfect. So the final 4K included a left with 2K to go, and then a right with 1K to go, pretty much. Happy and Kellen Campbell just nailed that part, and we had Kevin Konichev and Bewley just nailed the 10 to 4 case to go, and we arrived real fresh. So we thought we'd take it up in the front, keep a bit smoother run in, and out of trouble, and it just worked perfectly. So the guys did all their, I dropped Campbell and myself off inside the last kilometre, and then from there we were on our own, but. I had a good run through with Phillipson on the right, and fast sprint, sort of cross tailwind. I was happy to have the legs to finish it off.
Now, Caleb, who won stage 1, looked to be in a perfect spot. I mean, the Lotto guy in front of him, and but then he just seemed to sit up. Do you know what happened there?
I'm not sure. I haven't spoken to him, but I guess he didn't have the legs. If you have to make I haven't watched the replay of him where he was, but I'm guessing if he's too far back, then he's got to make some big efforts to move forward, and it's not easy to lead out from the front. Like he's spending a lot more energy in that position than if you're a few wheels back. So I'm guessing that's what happened.
Anyway, that's his problem, as they say. But you were very quick. I mean, Phillipson is no slouch. He's in fantastic form this year. And to go past him like you did, I mean, you only went past him about 10 minutes ago, and you beat him by nearly a full length. So your speed was a lot higher.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in some decent form. Catalonia's set me up really well. I had really good shape there, and yeah, I guess thankfully I've been able to absorb the blocks that I've had of racing, like Tirreno and then Catalunya. So I'm pretty keen to continue on this week, and hopefully we'll take some more wins.
So Sam Bennett seems to be coming back into form. It was a pretty strong third place from him as well, because he's had his challenges.
Yeah, it's good to see. It's good to have those guys here. It only makes the results mean more when you got guys of that caliber in the field. So no, I'm really happy with how we're going, and yeah, it's good to be back with the sprint team, the guys from the lead out, and we're becoming more familiar each stage, and making adjustments along the way. But yeah, like yesterday, the guys nailed it, and yeah, couldn't be happier.
I was listening to one of the replays. I can't remember what channel it was on, and they were talking about. Said, they're saying, Phillipson will be in the green leaders jersey with his 2 second places, and suddenly your name popped up. He said, "Oh, hang on," they couldn't add up properly. But yeah. Now I also read somewhere that you were really excited about the Gallipoli stage, which is just in a couple of days' time. That it would mean something really special to be able to win. In Gallipoli, in the shadows of Anzac Day.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few of us Aussies and New Zealanders here, so it's going to be, well, a lot of our first times going there, so it's going to be obviously a strange and eerie feeling, but it'd be nice to pay some respects while we're there, and if we can get the win there, then that'll be quite special, I guess.
Yeah, it will be something really special. So what's tomorrow's stage?
Tomorrow is the first more or less GC day, and today is the shortest.
I meant today. Tomorrow for us. I meant really it's today's stage. Yes, sorry, mate.
Yeah, we have a short stage actually, 118 kilometers or something like this. But yeah, sprint stage. So today's sprint's more of a UAE style sprint actually, big road, and we have a U-turn at about 2K to go. So yeah, it's another good one for us with the horsepower we have here, and yeah, we're ready to take it on.
Now, I read somewhere that you're going to be riding your first Grand Tour this year, but it's going to be the Vuelta. I was hoping it might have been going to be the Giro, because I'm coming over to the Giro. So no chance of it, because you've got such stellar form that they might change their mind.
Definitely not for the Giro. No, those boys are all locked in for Yatesy and the GC, which is fine. But I'm due for a break after this. I'll have quite a few race days, so it's we got a good plan to shut it down after this, and then build up for the rest of the season and finish with the Vuelta. Yeah,
look, just thanks heaps for coming on, mate. I know you've got to get down for breakfast, and a great day today. I'm glad it's only 118K. That'll be good for you. We mentioned Anzac Day and how special it is for Australians, and I can remember it's going back quite a while, but it's probably 10 years ago, where Gossi and Mark Renshaw almost dead heated for a stage win in Turkey on Anzac Day. I think Mark Renshaw just pipped Gossi. So that was the last time they actually raced on Anzac Day in Turkey, I think. But yeah, so good luck for that one. We'll all be following that, and I'll be following it tonight as well. If I can work out how to watch it live. I haven't been able to see that yet, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, thanks heaps, mate. And so you say you're having a bit of a break after this. Then what's the next event planned?
Well, we do a weekend of 1 days in a Virendale Classic, and this at the end of May, I believe. And then I will be doing Tour of Swiss, Tour of Poland, and then the Vuelta.
Fantastic. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, there is a small chance, but it's growing every day that I could get to the Vuelta. I've never been to the Vuelta. So you and I will both be new at that. I'm looking forward to it. And it's good not having Dan here be, interrupting me, because I can talk more about the Bay Quiz. He always cuts me off when I mention Bay Quiz. So it's important that we get you for the Bay Quiz in January, mate. So we'll start our negotiations very soon.
Cheers, Iffy. Sounds
All
good.
right, mate. See you, bud. Thanks heaps.
See you, mate. See you later.
Caden Groves. I left that bit in, John.
You're a good man.
Got the live comments. Jared says, evening, gents. G'day, Jared. Jared. Sally, great result for Caden and the team, who did an awesome job. And Janice Ashcroft says, good evening and hello to Caden. We'll pass that on. Now, a man that we said at the start of the show had a bit to do with discovering Caden is Dave Sanders. Joins us live. Davo, how are you, mate?
Yeah, all good. Great to be here. And it's absolutely fantastic to see Caden stepping up to his potential.
Mate, you're still looking fit. You're still doing a few Ks yourself.
Yeah, pretty lean. Did a couple of hours today. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. Now, tell us a story about the early days of Caden.
Okay, I first came across, I saw Caden pop up. He won the Australian Junior Road Championship up in Canberra with a short, like around a corner, up a little incline, and he burst out of the bunch and won the sprint. Australian Junior Road Champion. So I looked up his name, Queensland, and I asked around, and the great Ron Boyle was looking after him, the great sprinter, and blah, blah, blah. So I jotted his name down, and then I noticed they didn't even select him for the the junior national team to go to the Worlds, which is somewhat controversial. Anyway, I sort of forgot about him till several years later. I was managing the Mitchelton, Green Edge Mitchelton continental team in Asia, and I'm the Aussie St George team were there, and this kid's bursting out of the 100 up bunch sprints and winning on his own. It's Caden Groves. I thought, hello, he was only about 18 years old then. I said, have a look at this kid. So I tuned in and got to know him a bit. And at the end of the season, I wrote quite a long report to our people at Mitchelton. And I said, basically, if we're going to do this Asian circuit, probably 90% of the stages come to big bunch sprints. We need a sprinter. We need Caden Groves because he's the best young kid around, and I believe he's going to go a long way. Anyway, they did listen to me for once, and we had him the next year, and he won quite a few minor races, then bigger races. Then it was a real highlight for us when he won the final stage, a big bunch kick final stage of Chinghai Lake Tour, which is, they virtually call it the fourth Grand Tour. 2-week tour.
There's a bit of US prize money up for grabs if you win a stage there, isn't there?
$1 million US prize money there.
So how many bike bags did you have to stuff the $100 bills in?
Yeah, we'll talk about that off air. But I mean, you get some serious pros go there. Astana sent a team there, and a lot of ex-pros go there for them just money. They just literally they hand it out in blocks of $100 bills at the end of the races. So it's very, very competitive. And Caden stood up. I got some great photos of that. Actually, should have sent them to you before. But I thought, this young fella's going to go all the way in my mind. And he's just a hell of a nice young kid. And he's very, very calm for a sprinter and calculating, and just does his work very well.
Yeah, I remember, you telling me those stories, but you've been really involved in part of his training as well as he went over onto Bike Exchange. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Just really just to believe in himself, how to position in a bunch. He's made himself. He thinks about things a lot, does his own work, does his own study, but just the process of not. I believe recently that Robbie McEwen's been helping him out a bit, and my own education of road sprinting has come from what I've heard, over the years, what Robbie did. And they're sort of the things I've passed on to Caden over the years. But I'm really pleased to know that Robbie's, because they're both Queenslanders, and they're, he's connected with the best of the best. So I can think you can see that. I mean, his rocket ship speed coming past Phillipson in the last 50 metres was outstanding. He hadn't moved till, I don't know, 50, 70 metres from the line, and he just exploded. If you watch the head-on video or overhead, he had not stepped off the wheel till they were almost there. He just gripped the bars and just accelerated. And at the end of a road race, it's not that easy to do, and remind me very much of what Robbie used to do.
Yeah. Now, you're sort of being a bit elusive, Dave. It sounds like you've got a few sprint secrets up your sleeves on how to train for top end speed. Now, I used to hear rumours of riders putting, ankle weights in. And is there anything that you can give the listeners? Because we've got a lot of listeners here that, train and need advice. Is there anything you can give them to get to that high top end speed? Just give them one nugget, Davo.
Okay. If there's one thing that you got to remember, and I learned this early on. I read it. Tell you in a minute. Is that endurance riders, slow twitch riders have somewhere in there. There's fast twitch fibers, and you got to find them and work them and develop those fast twitch fibers. So every day, even if you're a pure slow twitch endurance rider, you should do 3 or 4 short max effort sprints, not long, 20-second sprints, just 6 seconds, 6, 8, 10-second sprints. Just accelerate from a slow speed or higher speed to a higher speed, because it always keeps that top end there. If you don't train it, it ain't going to happen on race day, and you just got to always keep it alive, keep it awake, keep that fast twitch system working. And I mean, some people were born with it, and you can make it better. And if you weren't born with it, you can just create it. I mean, if he was a great sprinter, and I don't know if he overly trained it, he just had it. I don't know. You have to ask him. But you can develop something if it's not there, to develop something and create something just by doing those short max efforts repeatedly.
One thing Robbie used to say as well is he would train on feel. So if he went out and did not feel good, he wouldn't push his body when his body was trying to tell him, hey, you're not feeling great. This evolution of data where, riders are obsessed with data and numbers and all that. Do you think it's actually going to start twisting back to an old school model of getting that sort of touch and feel back again?
You have to have that. I mean, if you just say a sports scientist is just sending out a program, on this day you do this and this day you do that. That's all very well if you're up to it and if you've recovered from the previous days. And this is the thing with endurance riders, especially tour riders and grand tour riders. You got to be able to deliver even when you're totally fatigued and just on your knees, and that you can't measure in a sports lab. You have to you have to run on feel a bit. I know Robbie, this is one thing I learned from him, he used to disappear several weeks before the tour or grand tours and go and do gym work to build strength and do his little repeat power efforts just to bring back that speed and power. I mean, they've got endurance running out their ears, these pros. They don't need a big endurance blocks, but you do need to bit of recovery and power. And there's a saying, sort of endurance is the enemy of power. Mega endurance takes that top end off your short accelerations and your short power. So you have to rebuild it. And a lot of guys forget that, mega kilometres, and the pros doing so much endurance, they lose a lot of that top end power, and you have to train and rebuild it.
Yeah, it's interesting is what you said before, Dan, about what Robbie used to do, because that's exactly what I got taught from my old man, who was sort of well ahead of his time in his thinking on that sort of stuff. And it was all one of his main points was, when you feel good, you train hard. When you feel a bit off, you back off and learn to read your body signs. But I think what's happening now, especially in the last couple of years, go back a bit further, it was a bit different. They just had this is your training block and this is what you do, and they were hard. But all this data that's coming through, it's data and it's information on your heart and all that. They are pretty well when you're starting to have a bad day, they're pretty on top of that as well. So it's starting to really improve it. And they're taking much, as you would well know, Davo, they're taking, most of the big teams are really looking after these young guys, because we're talking about 21-year-olds winning Tour de France, and all of these new up-and-comers are kids. They're 21, 22, whereas it used to be 25, 26. And that's how they realise. So they realise now that what these kids can do, but they've got to look after them. You can't just throw them in.
Well,
okay, Podjakar's something different. He seems to be able to do anything. But most of them aren't Podjakars. Most of them have to be cajoled, looked after, like a bit like Luke Plapp, where he's going at the moment. He's been very impressive, been looking really good. But they know they've got to just, take him gently into this.
Well, we're all watching with big wide eyes to see how this young crop develops, and over the next 6, 8, 10 years, the Ivanopols, the Pogachars, etc., that come through at a very young age, to witness their progress and how long they last, whether they keep improving, whether they can maintain that level, because we haven't seen many come through, really from that younger age at the top level. I'm surprised now that Pogacar is banging around the cobbles and trying to win classics at this time of year. Most of the GCs are not doing that, GC riders. So it's very interesting, and we'll wait and see what happens.
Well, if he said to Caden in the interview, like, the caliber of sprinters that he's beaten, yes, it's Tour of Turkey, but, and the way he won, how exciting is it seeing another great young Aussie sprinter that is on the precipice of potentially a 5-10 year monster career?
A couple of us, James, Victor and I, that were working with Caden through his younger years and with the Mitchelton Continental team, we made the statement just between us that this kid could be he's the next Caleb, could be as good as Caleb. And then we've just been waiting to see where he goes. But what we've seen this last couple of weeks, and the sheer speed and rocket ship speed that he even showed last night and the night before, he had the speed the night before, he was running to a dead end. It is exciting, and he's young and he's level-headed and he's prepared to take his time, and he's making the steps the right way, and it is exciting. I think we're going to see him on the Champs-Élysées and the big stages in the next couple of years.
Well, in the past, as if he said, there was this sort of mollycoddle, you got to nurture the riders. Like we saw it with Caleb, holding back, don't run him at the tour and all this sort of stuff. Whereas now it's sort of a lot of teams are feeling the pressure like, no, don't. You don't have to wait as long. What do you think is the best program over the next couple of years for Caden?
I'm a believer that they need to take steps, that they need to mature physically, mentally, and I just think you can throw them in the deep end, especially for Aussie guys, because the Euros are at home. They're in their home world and go home to mum every night, or their partners or wives. The Aussies are in a very foreign environment from a young age, and it's not easy. And I just, you're always going to find, Jan Ulrich was sort of world under 23 champion at 19. Eddie Merckx was under 23, was amateur champion at 19. But they're few and far between. And I just think, you asked me a question, I would rather see a stepping stone sort of development than throwing them in the deep end. Maybe throw them in for the first week of a tour, which Caleb did a couple of times. But for GC riders, I don't think they should be thrown in the deep end. In fact, I think the accident Evenepoel had a couple of years ago, I think it didn't do him any harm, because he jumped in. It really let him have sort of 6 months with no pressure on him. Pogacar, he's very, very exceptional, and we'll see where it goes. But once again, I do believe the stepping stone process is better.
Well, the Vuelta could be a huge opportunity in terms of Grand Tour. And I think he was talking about his program could be, pole and all that, sort of have a bit of a break. But do you see the Vuelta as a really good stepping stone? And don't even put the pressure on. Just say, look, maybe the first half of the Vuelta and see how you're tracking. If you have to pull you out, fine. Just to get that confidence of potentially getting a Grand Tour stage under your belt by the end of the year. without putting too much pressure on.
Absolutely. It's generally the way to go. Although you talk about the Vuelta, there's some serious climbs in the Vuelta. They think of it as the easy tour. It ain't easy. It's a really tough tour. Maybe the biggest names are not there, but you'll normally find a couple crossover and ride the Vuelta. And it's just a development of whether, it's the opportunity, especially for sprinters. It depends where the parcourse is the first week, but if they could pick up a stage, it's a fantastic bonus in them and gives them the confidence that they can win a Grand Tour stage. But it's also, and depending on the parcourse, when the big mountains are, just that they always say, the guys say, you think you're strong till you've finished a Grand Tour, and then it just gives you a whole nother level of depth of fitness and endurance and mental and physical strength. And somewhere in your career, you got to start, and it generally is the format they're throwing in the Vuelta first, just to get through it, and then step up maybe the next year or the year after into the tour when they reach that level. But it's the right way to do it.
Yeah. One of the things that's happened over the last couple of years, Dave, as you've well seen, is there's not much piano in the stages anymore. They fire on the gun, and these blokes are on every day, every stage, every day. So it's bloody serious racing. But, I agree with you. And you can't use Pogacar as any sort of guide because he is a freak. He is a freak. He's another Eddie Merckx. And so you can't really judge. Eddie Merckx raced much harder than anyone else, a lot more days, whatever. Because he could. He was sort of had this physique and physiology that couldn't knock him down, And I think Pogacar is just the same. So he's not a really good analogy. But Bernal's a more an interesting one. I mean, he's had his challenges with injuries and stuff. Well, he was only 21 when he won the tour. And it was good to see if he can come back. I mean, it's amazing that he's even back on the bike now. But it'll be next year before we see what he can do. But there's so many of them. They're popping up. They're younger and they're getting given much more of an opportunity.
Yeah, it is. I asked. Well, those who've been around a long time wonder, well, how is this happening? It's a little bit controversial, I'm going to say, but I'll say it anyway. I asked Simon Clark, who's sort of font of knowledge of most things, and certainly has the qualifications to make these sort of analogies. How is it these young guys are stepping up so quickly to the top ranks? How's it happening? And he sort of said, well, a few of us are saying this thing, he's asking this question. And his throw up back was that he believes now, because the game's so much cleaner and it's natural ability, and the guys with these young natural freaks have the ability to step up and race at the highest level from a young age, because it's a far more level playing field. And you see Evenepoel straight out of juniors, second in the world pro time trial championship behind Rowan, first year, and it's exceptional. So it's one analogy that was thrown at me, and I accept that.
I tell you, it's back to Caden. It's going to be a fascinating tour of Turkey because, you look at the likes of, you've got Caleb, who has been the centre of Aussie sprint focus for the last 4 or 5 years. Then you get this other Aussie young sprinter that blasts onto the blocks and rolls him in stage 2. I mean, it's going to be a ding-dong battle for a number of years now.
Oh, yeah. They'll be going head-to-head for the next decade, hopefully.
Like Stewie and Robbie
what
back
really
in the day.
Inspired me was seeing the beautiful light blue BikeExchange-Jayco colours lined out. I think the best looking kit in the peloton these days, and they look fantastic and confident on the front. And when we saw the overhead shot coming into that stage 2 in Turkey, with the whole peloton in one line, the whole peloton in one line. That's
looked good, didn't it? It did look good, yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. I thought that's dominance, and it's saying, well, we're here to race, boys. Cop this. And I think we've needed to do that. Because
I've got the replay here if you want to have a squiz. This is 4.4 to go.
You got to go back a bit further. Yeah, that's in the last kilometre.
Just coming to
it's 4.4. Yeah. So that's Heppy and Bewley and all that, and then these are obviously the highlights. But as you said, at least the kit does stand out when they were at the play.
Watch Caden as he just steps out and goes bang. He grips him. You see him. It wouldn't be 50 metres, and he just puts the eyes out and grips the bars. What here?
Just there.
Bang. There's only about 10
30 metres.
And it's straight past.
and going so much quicker. Yeah, no, that's for sure. We were talking about that earlier.
That's real fast push acceleration. It was just brilliant. And Robbie used to do that. Just grip the bars, there'd be veins popping his neck, and he'd just be locked solid upper body and bang acceleration. And you're seeing that in Caden at the moment.
A couple of live comments. Nolsey, he says, the Dan and Iffy show, obviously with Davo as well. What better way to wind down after a day at work? And Jason Cruz from the Maldives says, what a win ahead of 4 other great sprinters. This will build his reputation. Great commitment by the boys in the lead out. Did get worried when Lotto came past with 400 to go. We're going to take a quick halftime drinks break. Iffy, you've teed up Henk Vogels, I hope. Is he coming?
So we're gonna talk a bit more about the weekend with Amstel, and so you stay on, Davo.
Yeah, you'd have some great Henk stories, wouldn't you, Davo? I'll give you a couple of minutes during the drinks break to just jot down the cleanest ones, and we'll let rip in the second half. All right, we'll be back soon with more detail.
No worries.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match, but not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace, with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Are you dreaming of the ultimate cycling holiday? Mumu Cycling is the best in the business. Official tour operators for all Grand Tours and monuments, you will ride the best climbs, enjoy VIP access and race viewing, all hosted by some of the world's best pros, including 17-time Tour de France rider and Paris-Roubaix champion Stuart O'Grady. Start planning your ultimate holiday at www.mumucycling.com.
Thanks again, Bike Exchange and Mumu Cycling. If you're not long till you head off to the Giro, a couple of weeks now. Have we got any tickets left?
Well, the last time we mentioned this, they put an extra couple of tickets on and they sold. So they've done it again. So there's another two spots available. Exactly. Another 2 spots available for the last week of the Giro, last 10 days, I think. And there's also some spots opened up for the Tour de France with Mumu, who are the superstars. The boys are all over there at the moment with Stewie for the classics. So they've had an amazing time. And they did a special Grand Fondo at Amstel, and I think they've got another one coming up this weekend for Paris-Roubaix. So exciting stuff. So I think we've got Henkster coming through. I sent him a couple of links, Henk Vogels, who would be interested in talking with him about Paris-Roubaix and Amstel Gold, because he featured in both of those events. So it'd be good to get him. I think he's coming through now by his messages. But,
well, we can talk about Amstel Gold, Iffy, because it happened again. Obviously, the finale was quite exciting there, but geez, you couldn't write a script about it. 2 years in a row, it's gone down to the photo, and no one knew what the bloody hell was going on.
No, it's disappointing actually. The Dutch are pretty professional. It's a huge race. It's one of the classics. And there we go. We're looking at the vision now. They throw at the finish. It was so close. Neither of them knew. I think Cosnefroy had a feeling he didn't because he banged his handlebar.
Oh, well, they told him he won it.
No, but earlier when he crossed the line,
when he did,
he had a feeling that he didn't. And then you saw them both waiting. They didn't know. The two of them didn't know. And there we go. It was a great throw by Kwiatkowski, actually. Really, really, where Cosnefroy was
threw it at the right time.
Yeah, it was all in the throw. Great. And so he was. So then they announced. The officials announced to everyone that Cosnefroy had won, so you can see all the celebrations, and Kwiatkowski was apologising to the team for because they had the manpower, they should have won, and I'm sorry, and suddenly it was only about 2 minutes. They then announced the correct results, which is just not excusable, especially after last year. Because not only last year did they stuff it up, they got it wrong. I still have not seen a photo that shows Van Aert won that bike race. I've seen every one that they put up. I haven't seen one that shows that he won it on the line. So I don't know what they were looking at. But anyway, we're still talking about it.
It's dodgy. It's dodgy last year's one. And as you said, I don't know anyone that could look at the photo and say that, it wasn't Pidcock. Doesn't make any sense.
No.
So
anyway. It was even closer than this one. This is only a tyre. It was half a tyre. You either call it a dead heat or you give it to Pidcock. When you looked at all of the shots they put up, that's what a couple of them you couldn't decide, and other ones showed Pidcock. No, I didn't see one that showed Van Aert. Did you see those, Davo?
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it was pretty controversial, and left a sour taste in your mouth, that one.
Yeah, I know Pidcock still feels he won, so he still feels that, and all the team thinks.
I thought Pidcock handled that very well.
Yeah.
At the time.
Why? What did he do?
He did nothing. He just handled it very well. He accepted it, and he said, "Oh well, that's the way it goes." I think it was his victory. You don't get too many of them handed to you, and he
especially his first go. It was amazing, really. But Kwiatkowski has been an amazing rider. Like he won this 8 years ago or 9 years. I can't remember how long ago it was, or something like that. And he's placed in it as well. But he spends most of his year now. He's been world champion, and we know his class. But I think he beat an Aussie, if I remember rightly. One of the Gero.
Well, he was the one who beat Gero in the world title in Spain. He won. He won Amstel with the rainbow jersey on. Now, I like to see him win races because I think he could have won 10 times the amount of races he has.
I agree.
He's sold his soul. I guess I hope he gets paid a lot of money because he's sold his career to Sky Ineos. I presume for very good.
I hear it's about €3 million.
Well,
a year.
He earns it. Because he could win anytime he gets a free range. Look at the tour there last year. The moment they give him a free range, bang, he wins a stage. He's a super cyclist, and I like to see him win. Actually,
I think he's the highest paid domestic. Yeah,
and so he should be because he could be a team leader and he'd be winning classics.
That's right. That's exactly right. But he's decided to stay there. But on that part of it, it was great. But for Cosnefroy, I thought it was really that would have been his first race outside of France. He's a damn good bike rider, classy bike rider, but he's only won in France before, so that looked like being a really good first up, but it didn't turn out that way.
Hey, One topic they were talking about on the Cycling Tips Wenger show last night, and they make a good point, is DSM. They're the only World Tour team not to win a race this year. What do you reckon is going on there, Iffy? Because, only, a couple of years ago, we were talking to Luke Roberts. And
there's something going on there. We've been talking about something smells in there. You've got too many good people have been leaving. Just the other day, Aussie got third in what was it? Where the big fella? got third. That's their only podium in a World Tour race this year. When Big Sam, the pursuiter, Team's pursuiter. Oh, mental blank. Top guy. Won the Bay Crits. I mean, how can I forget? Sam Welsford, yeah. You ran third just the other day. And a great ride. It was Flandern, I think. It was Flandern. Sorry. And it's the only podium they've had in a World Tour race this year. So something isn't right.
What do you reckon, Davo? It's pretty hard to keep the wins coming.
Whispers, but there's generally an issue when it has been a really high performance team. When it says it's going backwards, but it ain't going forwards. I always say if you're not taking laps, you're losing them. And so there's something that's gone amiss. I haven't heard any rumours, but it's obvious. Hopefully they turn it around. There's some good people still there, and we can't write them off yet. These things happen.
All right, Iffy. Well, we're still waiting on Hank. Any ETA, mate, or we're going to have to pull the ripcord, son?
I don't
know. You have to make the call, John.
Well, I've sent it. He said, "Can you send it to my email?" Which I did. So I don't know. But while I send this, we should have a little chat about the Amstel Gold Women's Race, because that was a great. I've
got the highlights. I'll bring up for you. Yep.
And young FDJ girl, not that young. I think she's around about 30, but she's really come of age. Marta Cavalli.
We talk about Amanda Spratt's fine performance.
Yes, she was right. She got up the road. It was fantastic for her. She did look good. Young Alex Manley was right up there as well. She finished 12th. So, very impressive.
And I've been interested to see like Alex Manley, etc., who've come out of the track program onto the road, haven't had big road careers or a big background on the road, and to be able to step up to finish sort of front group in these classics first year is pretty impressive.
Yeah, Georgia Baker just the other day as well.
Georgia's another one.
Yeah, they're going really well. And, are we starting to see the end of the dominance of Annemiek van Vleuten? I mean, she's been very strong as always, but she's not breaking them like she used to.
I just think the whole depth of women's cycling has come so far, and they're just fine athletes, and the depth of the I think just the depth is building so much more than individuals. The top 100 are all good. The top 50 are excellent. The top 20 are superstars. Instead of one or two dominating, the depth has risen. Yeah, that was a great ride. She really nailed it, timing wise. That's a very interesting final there. And I've been to that we've had world titles there and seen so many. Whether it's all about timing over the crest of that hill, and everyone takes a breath and looks at each other. If you can just pick that moment, it's just and then have the legs to carry on. And then so often the group behind looks at each other, and because it's pretty much over the crest, it's a little bit downhill and then flat and about 1 degree uphill. And if you make that move, it's pretty hard for them to bring them back because of unless you've got a team that can ride to bring you back. Who's going to chase you? It's,
exactly. I see, as you mentioned, Spratty, it was a really good ride. I mean, she was away. Not like 10K or so to go. I can't remember who she was away with, another girl, but they would look really good. And I think she dropped, she finished a minute 50 down and dropped quite a few placings. But it's been great science because it's been such a gradual progression. And it bodes well for Liège coming up because she's got that extra week. So this weekend is Paris-Roubaix, and then the following weekend is Liège. So hopefully that projection keeps going for her.
Well, we are getting technical difficulties. I've had to mute Davo's mic because I could pick it up, and Buster Thomas says, Dan, someone's mic has intermittent noise, maybe John's, or maybe it's just crap internet connection, making it hard to listen tonight. Apologies for that. That is Dave Sanders. Davo, do you have headphones at all? No?
Yeah, probably do. I'll go and find some.
And Henk Vogels is in the waiting room, but he can't connect his device. So It's all happening. Look, I think we might have to wrap things up, Iffy.
Oh, it's a shame. It is a shame.
We'll get Hank on Thursday if he's available.
Yeah. Okay, we will. Hankster, if you can hear us, we're Thursday. We're doing a preview of Paris-Roubaix. So we'll get Hankster on for that. Hopefully, we'll have. There's only 2 Aussies who've ever won Paris-Roubaix. Stewie, who's over there, but Matty Heyman. And we'll talk because the other big announcement today is Commonwealth Games in Victoria. Was it 2026? I think it is. In regional. And the last time
we get the badminton and some other sport, archery probably.
Yeah. So Geelong, Bendigo, Ballarat, and Gippsland, which is fantastic.
Somewhere, I don't know where in Gippsland.
Yep. Something a bit Sale, the hometown of Dan Jones. They're going to have something.
That's right.
Sale.
Sure. Out of the prison.
The pub fight championships, so they'll be at Sale.
Golden
or
gloves.
Maui or Mall, either one. Good old days. But anyway, we'll be talking about all that because, of course, Matty Heyman won the Commonwealth Games when they were around in Melbourne. Great ride. To the Botanic Gardens. They're a fantastic course. So we'll do all that on Thursday. So Hankster, we'll get you on board. Thanks heaps, Davo.
Thanks, Davo.
Have you on? Yep. Give us
Cheers,
a good
mate.
insight there, mate.
No worries. Always good fun. It's so exciting.
Mate.
I love talking about young Caden.
Yeah.
No worries, mate. Great insights. And remember, if you want to support the show, youtube.com/The Detour Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back again on Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Thanks, Iffy. Thanks, Dave. And sorry, Hank. We'll see you on Thursday. Take it easy.